Hey everyone, how are you? Hope you're all good with good health. So, at first I thought about doing writing everything that I found about the bees, but I finally thought, why don't make a video? Besides, I have a lot I want to talk about, though I will still try to keep it concise and like to the point. Um, but no, wait, I want to show here. Yeah. Uh, but yeah, I wanted to show my findings about the beast movement, and I thought the video will explain it much better. So, uh, where can we start? So here I have, like I said, I will try not to be very technical, but basically I have here a list of different RAM addresses, which are useful to know how the bee moves and stuff. So, for example, here I have different data about the bee. For example, this value here is the initial bee position horizontally. Then I have the vertical position, and you also have the limits, which is actually pretty important for the bee's movement. And I actually didn't check if the same logic applies for other enemies in the game, like the mouse in Jin Gadget, for example. But I'm pretty sure it's the same logic. I'm going to check it out later though. But focusing on the bees. So yeah, we have this data here, which it's static at first. But what is not static and it's all the time changing is the here 0826, which is actually a pointer to a. Well, I will skip the technical details. The point is that it's increasing every frame, and the important part here is that the point at which the bee's position is going to start getting updated is the moment the bee is visible in the camera. But for example, at this point nothing is changing, but as soon as I get close enough, everything starts changing. Like we can see that not only the position but also other values here are also changing. But as soon as I go far away, everything stands still again. And then I come here again, and again it all changes. So the important thing here is there was this discussion or this thought that do bees follow a pattern, like for example the spikes in Shin Gadget Act 3, the boss I mean, and the answer is something like that, but it's actually kind of complex, because if you pay attention to the bee's movement as time goes on, you will notice that it's always following a very specific pattern. Like it's going in this direction like this, and then it comes like this and goes for this line, and then it spends doing some cycles here, and then it comes here, and then again it comes here, and then goes for this line and repeats over and over and over again. In fact, something very interesting that you can do is, and which I actually did, is you can go frame by frame, and when the bee comes at this point specifically, the RNG is exactly an FAE30, so you can see here that I'm at frame. It's pretty high because I left it running for a while, but it's in 145 781, and if I now am past this and let some time pass, you will notice that when it comes here again at the same position, it will be at the same RNG position, FAA 30, and it's going to be 500 frames ahead. So for example, if I repeat this process again, the next time it's going to say 781. And let's check. Now, so we go frame by frame. We don't want to skip anything here. And we can see that, yes, it's at 781. So the bee is following a pattern, yes, but like I said, it's actually a little bit more complicated than that. Because when you just start, like, I'm going to load here the save state, you can see that now it's at 5000. I left it running for a long while. But the moment you enter here, an algorithm is going to start consuming from this address and start calculating the movement. Now, this in BizHub is kinda hard to see, so that's why I have here Exodus open as well. Though I have to set up here a couple of things, but it's pretty fast. I need to set the breakpoint here. So it was 17,368. Yeah, and so now I am past this, and you can see that at first nothing happens, but for example, I get here, and there you can see that the game magically stopped. Well, actually it's not magic, it's actually the breakpoint magic, if anything. So yeah, now if I come here to the disassembly, again, I'm not going to get into all the greasy details. Although I am going to leave in the description of this video a couple of notes for the more technical people or people who are interested in knowing all the greasy details that I'm going to skip in this video. Well, I'm going to leave the notes for you, if and the code also that you can see here in the background in case you want to read it. But yeah, so here we have a whole lot of logic. Here we can see that we are using the RNG. So here I can do a step into, and so the first time it consumes from here, and if I keep going, I can see that it's going to consume again from RNG. But what is the important part here? The important part here is the offsets, which I wrote here in BizHub. Those here, particularly where the horizontal and vertical movement are used, which are offset 6 and offset E. So if we scroll down a bit, we can see that here we have the offset E, which is being used here, and the same goes for the vertical one, which we said is 6, and so that one is being used here, and it's also being used here, and they are basically being updated based on the RNG value at that moment. But think about it this way: the B is standing, right? It's not changing position. Like here, if I unpause here, I can see that it's quiet. The only thing that is moving is actually the RNG. So if I get here at different points, the algorithm is going to consume different values from the RNG, which means that the first time the bee is going to follow a pattern that is not necessarily the one that we just saw. Like, it may be a different one. And the reason why I say that it may be a different one is because there are some seeds or some RNG values that actually are very similar to the pattern that we just saw. And for that, I actually built a program, which I'm going to show you here. I use Python for this. And so here what I did is I tried to replicate the bee's movement. For that, well, I copied all the wrong values, and then all the different RAM addresses that the game uses for the movement, and all the algorithm is fully detailed here. So basically I replicated all of that, translated from assembly to Python, and then with that I can make this drawing. and it's very accurate. Like if you see the V movement and compare it to this, it's pretty much this. Here is all the circles that we were describing before, and here is where the V goes to the top and then goes for the line. So it's the same that you just saw in BizHub. So what I also did here is I add an option to be able to enter seeds here and be able to see what the first frames look like, considering the initial point where the V starts. So for example, if I enter here seed 8, I enter here seed, well, actually, let me do this. I'm going to clear everything and then do this. So you can see that this seed, well, I actually didn't choose a very clear color, but let's try another seed. There. So you can see that in one seed it went here, but in the other it went around here. And now if I go with something like, I mean, let's not go that far, just 11. Well, we can see it's kind of similar. So for some cases it's fairly similar, but for us it's like it goes somewhere else, right? Like it goes other ways, to the right, to the left, and all over the place. Now the thing is that after a while, it actually reaccommodates, and for that I built another program, which I there. So what this program does is I enter different seeds, and it tells me for that particular seed, for example, for 449, how many times, how many iterations, like how many 500 cycles did the V have to take in order to be a mash. And how did I define a mash? So basically what I did is I said, well, when the pointer is 0, which is FAB40, RNG FAB40, these are the values. Like the position, the horizontal position has to be this, the vertical has to be this, and the other data has to be this. And it checks that every time it reaches to this pointer. And so if at one iteration it checks and says no, it's not the same, then it says mismatch. Then it goes another loop, so to speak, and if again there's a mismatch, again mismatch, and it continues until there's a match. And you can more clearly see this because I did this by code, so I will have to remove it from here. Here, this code I'm going to remove, so maybe it's going to be easier to tell. I'm going to run it again. I'm going to let the game run just for the background music. And so yeah, so for example, here I have the main one, so to speak, and I say for example 8 seed, and so it's actually iterating over all the B path, and it's overriding the red one. Why? Because at some point it mashed. At some point it went back to the original pattern. And why it does that is actually very interesting, but it has to do with the limits. Like at some points it tries to go over the limit as per the algorithm, but it can't because of the limit. So I think 100 was easier to see this. Yeah, so well, the color is not helping, but let me try. I think 150 was also a good example. So yeah, you can, if you pay close attention to this part and this part, you can see that they are very similar. But at this point, it's like the B is trying to do this, but it can't because, I mean, it does try, because here you can see that it goes up, but it can't go any further because there's the limit, and so that is like it makes the V adjust to the position, to the original pattern, the red one, which is this one. This one here. Oh, well, that one worked super fast because I, I coded it in such a way that I wanted the red to be drawn faster. But yeah, so in the end it accumulates to this. So what does this mean in practical terms? Well, like, it basically means that yes, it is pretty random, and when you start here, you don't know where the bee is going to go. Even if you go like 1 frame or 2 frames later, you still can't know where it's where the bee is going to go. But one way to look at it is that maybe you are having like one item that is very similar to a previous one, right? Like you play it pretty much the same way. But yet the enemy, the bee for example, move in a very different way, and you say, why if I play the same way? And the thing is that, as we just saw here, even just one different value, like from 8 to 9 for example, it can make greatly vary the path that the bee is going to take at first, because later it's going to follow this path, but it might take like 3 iterations. It might take like 1500 frames, for example. It can take a long time for the bee to adjust. So the first frames, the path that the bee might take can vary a lot. So that's basically what it means. But yeah, that's the bee's movement, the mystified, revealed. Oh, and there was one more thing that I wanted to show you, which is this beauty, which I spent reading a lot. I mean, it's actually very similar to the code here, but here is this is the Trace Logger. Which, why did I want to mention this? Well, just in case you were curious how did I do this. Basically reading a lot of code, spending my weekend and holiday time doing this because it's a lot of fun, you know. I had a lot of fun. What other things can be more fun than reading all these letters and numbers in hexadecimal and I mean, really. Anyways, so I think that's all. If anything, I will add it in the description, but hopefully that was clear enough. If anything, just let me know, and I'll be happy to answer any of the questions you may have. Thank you so much, and have a happy day.